All right, let's do this. Exactly. Welcome to Did You Play That, our retro gaming podcast focused on some of our favorite classic games. My name is Eric, and the woolly to my bobcat co-host is Josh. What's happening, Josh?
Hey man, how's it going? Pumped to finally be getting started here.
I know.
It's been a little while. We got that gamer dad life.
Oh, we got the gamer dad life. That is totally true. Today we're going to be talking about Bubsy for the Super Nintendo specifically, and Bubsy in Claws Encountered of the Furred Kind, which is in and of itself a friggin' mouthful.
Yes, difficult enough to say, and it was quite frustrating at times to play.
I can totally second that, and I posted all of the gameplay that I had to our YouTube channel, and you can definitely see some of my frustration if you want to sit through that. So Josh, what are you playing lately? What are you doing, man?
So aside from Bubsy to get this podcast started, and I'm getting through some cool spot right now because I know that game's coming next. But other than that, I play a lot with our buddy Taylor, who I'm sure will join us on an episode at some point.
He definitely will. We'll get him in here as soon as we can.
We play some NHL together. That's a good time. And then with my other buddy Shank, out in California, we play some Rocket League.
Nice.
It's one of the few cross-platform games out there. So
yeah.
We're looking for more.
I'm actually in the process of getting an esports team going at my school, and Rocket League is one of those games that we will definitely be getting up and running. I think Smash is the other one that we're trying to get up and running because it's just easy enough for a lot of people to join in and be a part of. So, I'm also playing a lot more retro. Well, I'm not also playing, but I'm playing more of the retro. I feel like I've always played more of the retro. I've always been behind the game and what I play with. So I'm actually playing Star Tropics for the Nintendo, the regular Nintendo, the NES, however you like to call it. Mm-hmm. And actually, I just bought, because it was on sale, Undertale. So I'll be getting into that soon. And I don't know much about it. It got rave reviews, and I'm not one to go searching for a lot of information, so I've kind of just left it that way.
Yeah.
So
don't spoil any of it.
Yeah, I don't want to spoil it.
Enjoy the ride.
You know, I'm not into like the trailers and like all the feature. Like, hey, like I know the new Mario one just dropped, and I was like, I really want to see it because I want to know if it's going to be worth seeing. But all I've seen is the poster with his butt that looks extremely flat, and there's been a million memes about. Yeah, we'll see what happens with that, I guess.
Yeah, I totally get it. I'm the same way. I like to avoid any, if I know I want to go, if I think it's something I'm going to want to go see, I don't want to spoil any parts of it. So
yeah.
I get it.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens. Hopefully the new Mario's good, and hopefully Undertale's good, and in the meantime, we'll talk about something a little bit more old and classic and crazy in Bubsy. Did you actually own this game growing up? Did you rent this? Did you?
Oh yeah, this was a rental.
Yeah. Yeah. It was probably best that way, right?
we were a Hollywood video family.
Oh, that's different.
Yeah.
I don't know if we might lose some listeners just on that, but
I know it's rough, but it is what it is. I was not the one who got to make the decisions at 10, 11, 12 years old. So.
It's probably a good thing.
It was definitely a rental. I feel like I rented it a lot. I'll never beat it, so I don't know. Maybe it just stuck in with me for so long because I didn't beat it, no matter how often I rented it.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I don't know how being the younger brother and also not being able to make those types of decisions back in the day. I feel like half the games we got were my brother's decision, and the other half were just bought for us anyways, and they were either like the top tier games like Super Mario World, or they were games that I have no idea how we eventually purchased them. But we owned Bubsy, and I never beat it as a kid either. I don't think I got very far. I mean, you definitely can kind of think about it in the train stages and some of the later stages. I feel like I saw them, but I don't feel like I ever progressed through them.
Yes, I remember, because I remember trying to figure this out while I was playing the game, replaying here. It was level 10.
Yeah. Is that in the train to the Wild West area?
No, I got past that. It was, it says here it was Canada.
Canada, is that the like when you get into the wilderness?
The wilderness.
Okay, where there's the river.
Yeah,
you know, that's Canada.
Yeah, that's what it says, Canada.
Oh,
I'm here on the Bubsy, giving credit, BubsyFandom.com.
There's a fandom?
Wiki. There's a Bubsy wiki.
How is there a fandom? Who invented this shit?
It says Chapter 10, be very careful.
Oh,
So
yeah, okay.
beavers.
That I can agree with. I think I saw one beaver.
I know it's as far as I've gotten. I know that for a fact.
Okay.
I got farther than that as a kid. So.
Yeah, I know I got to the Wild West and it took me a little bit to remember it, but when we got to the giraffes or at whatever stage those guys came in, I remember jumping on their heads all the time and playing that stage, but I don't know if I ever got to Canada. Jesus, who invented Canada? But man,
I really got to look into the lore of this game that I know that is
the fact
Canada.
that I can't imagine the fact that there's even lore is mind-boggling to me. I feel like I saw pictures of Canada, sadly, the real Canada or the fake Canada in Bubsy, I'm not sure. Okay. And I do feel like maybe my brother did it because he was better at these types of games than I was. Maybe he got to, what's after Canada? What's the tree stages when you're like up in the cool woods?
The jungle, that's right after Canada.
Yeah, so I feel like maybe he got there. He was better at patient movements than I was back in the day, where I felt like I just tried to run and jump and see how far I could fly.
Yes, that was definitely, I think, a big difference for me playing from a kid to now. I realized I had to be a little bit more careful with my... Like, I just felt like, honestly, so many times you kind of just had to make a leap of faith and just hope for the best. Like, the camera only panned so far, and I was like... Come on, I gotta just jump and figure this out.
Yeah, I really feel like whoever the creator was, I didn't even look into these things. I don't even pay attention to those details, to be honest. But whoever made this, I feel like was like, they saw Sonic and they were like, how do we make Sonic but with our own version? And they came up with Bubsy, who they thought was super cool and they thought was badass, and they kind of do like the movie like one-liners with the Clint Eastwood and like all those things, and I just feel like they had some pieces with the speed, because there's a lot of great speed, but you don't get enough to predict and anticipate and do anything with that speed. So instead of actually running fast, you're better off just like tapping forward, stopping and looking up, stopping and looking down.
Yeah, I kind of felt like early on in the game, you could get away with that speed.
Yeah.
And then right around that train desert levels is where they kind of take that away, and there's no real, reason to know that or understand it. So I didn't recognize that adjustment.
I'm not going to even lie. Even in some, I think I was in the carnival stage, one of the later carnival stages. Yeah. And I remember, getting up to full speed and running, and I ran straight into a wall and died.
Yeah.
And I didn't even know that was going to kill me.
Didn't know that was a thing yet, but yes.
I understand, fall damage and fall deaths, but didn't realize that if I ran full speed into this, I was just... And so immediately, the controller just goes up, and you're just like, what the hell, man? Come on, give me something.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Punished you for doing what you thought was supposed to be, the full speed action?
Yeah.
Or is it not? You had to kind of memorize the level to know when to jump or something.
But the levels are so big. And,
yes.
I like that about some of them, because there's so many ways you can go. I mean, there's, not just, a top, a bottom, and a middle. There was, 4 different ways you could get through some of these stages in its depths. And there were stages where I completely avoided and, stayed away from, the top or from the bottom. So,
yes,
I thought that was one of the cool things.
It was kind of like It did feel to me sort of like an open world, but as that old school 2D platforming was still because it was vertical and horizontal at the same time.
Yeah, and I feel like there was a couple spots where it got a little maze-like. I'm thinking that carnival stage, because you had to go through all the doors and you had to make your way to the specific door to get to the end. Yeah. But it never felt like you were forced to go one way. It was kind of like you had the option. So it did feel really open world in those each individual stages, which was cool for back in the day.
Yeah, I also felt definitely at least towards the end of the game or the second half of the game, So, like, it gave you 10 minutes in the level.
Yeah.
Which was a super long time, because I felt like most of them, especially by the end, I was just like, I'm just trying to finish the level. So I'd be done in, like, with 7 minutes left. And I was like, I wonder what you're supposed to do with those other 7 minutes.
I don't know how you...
collect all the yarn balls?
I don't know how you were beating those levels with 7 minutes, because I think I was beating those levels with, like, a minute or two left. Not because I was really exploring. I sucked at the exploring part. I was just so friggin' timid that I was just like, oh, I'm just going to, like, make my way really, really slowly. I'm going to look down. I'm going to look up. I'm going to check both ways before I cross this street and still die.
I did have to get to that in, like, the jungle area.
Yeah.
Like, you just couldn't.
Oh.
But I probably just ended up dying a million more times. Because there was a night I think I played for like an hour and I didn't get any further because I was just like, I'm just gonna sprint, die.
Yeah, and I feel like I felt like Canada. It's so weird calling it Canada. The Canada stage where you're just like, you're on the river and the bottom's got like the little like raft that you can jump on and it just like takes you to the end. I'm like, that was the stage for me where I really started to forcibly slow down. I did a little bit in the Wild West. I'm not gonna lie, especially when you were off of the train.
Into the canyon.
Yeah, into the canyon. Fuck that. But man, Canada got me where I was like, oh, I'm gonna go up, and then I'd like fall all the way to the end and just like fall in the water and die and not know what else to do because I was like, okay, I guess I can't just jump and hope anymore.
And this also confused me because sometimes when you landed in the water and floated all the way to the bottom, there was like stuff down there.
There's stuff down there. I never figured out how to get down there.
I think a couple times I found like levers or switches, and I think that's what some of them did was adjust the water level, but I never went back a level. I was just want to get it done.
I found one switch. And so I got that, and I like, you know what, you look around. So I looked to the right as far as I could look to the right. I looked to the left. I looked up at it. I wasn't going all the way down to the water. Yeah. I wasn't risking that.
No mini.
The number of bad
like
guys, those crocodile things, they suck. Fuck them. Oh man, yeah, there were some crazy moments that I just like didn't know what to do, and I don't think I truly understood the levers until the final stage. Mm-hmm. And you had to like...
At one point, you did need them to, I think, get to a door maybe or
You
something.
need them in that... Like, you have to hit all of the specific levers so that you can progress in the stage.
That's right.
Because there's that weird... in the spaceship. Yeah. And there's those weird, like, plasma lava. Yeah. I didn't know what to call it. I was like, I don't know what this is.
Not right. Cause it would, but... Yes.
Well, you even see it. Like, you see it for the first time, you're like, what is this? It can't be touched. It shouldn't be touched. But you try it anyways just to see. Because you see, like, 1-ups in there, and you see yarn balls. And you're like, I've got to be able to. Yeah. And then you just die. And you're like, what the hell?
Yeah, it was an annoying level, because I definitely had to backtrack quite a few times to just find the levers.
That stage, though, I say might have one of my favorite bad guys, because they shoot lightning bolts from their penis. Like, they just have like cannons coming from between their legs, and they shoot lightning bolts at you near the end of the stage.
I'm gonna have to look back at that animation again.
It is one of those bad guys, and there's some bad guys.
I see it right there in my gameplay footage. Yep, that's exactly what's happening.
They just shoot from their penis.
All right.
And by all means, there's some really funny bad guys. I'm not gonna lie, I feel like I definitely didn't even see all the bad guys in the game, but there are some friggin' characters like early in the game, and like the first, like when you're in the town. I don't know what the town's called. I just call it the town. Maybe it's Boston because I don't know. Does it have a name? No lore. Come on, Wikipedia.
How early in the game is that?
The first 3 stages where you have like the houses that you
village.
The village. It's the village. Okay,
I gotcha.
They have those super annoying cars. One has. One of them's yellow, and it's got a top on it. It doesn't have like a convertible.
You bounce off,
and you go flying up in the air, and you're like, okay, this is cool. But the red one, did you see the red one?
They kidnap you.
They just kidnap you and drive away. And I got so mad.
And the convertible cover closes, and they just steal you away.
Like, what were these people thinking?
Candy van.
Oh my god! And so I'm sitting there, and I'm like, pissed off because I'm like, I should be flying up to the top of this mountain or like just flying through the stage, and nope, just You just
and you
screen
you look up,
freezes.
like you're ready for your guy to bounce, and then nothing happens. And you're like, wait, and you look back down, and you're like, am I in the car? Like, did that just happen?
It just drives off, and you've got this sad little face.
Yeah.
And it took me a while to even realize that there was a difference between the yellow and the reds.
Yes.
I just didn't even acknowledge it. But such a simple little game change piece.
Yeah, it did have it happen to me once, and then I remembered I was like, oh, that's right. I do remember those cars now, and yeah, it's much more hilarious now.
Yes, much more hilarious now that we're not playing it and frustrated by it. But those little things, the hot dogs and the spaceship. I love this. I think it's just funny that there's spaceships. It's the Woolies in a spaceship and at the carnival.
It took me way too long to recognize that it was all connected. Like those little tiny yarn ball UFOs, and then the bosses, and then there's Woolies inside and the Woolies are aliens.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, what? It took me again half the game to realize that. And I was cool.
I'm not kidding. I originally, when I finished this, left notes to myself of what the hell is the purpose or the story to this game? Because I really didn't think
which are aliens. So.
There was a story. You finish the game, and there's there's a little end scene. It goes to the credits, and I'm like, what the frick is going on? Did I miss something? And I had to go back and I looked at the manual. Did you look at the manual?
No. Is that available on these?
No, it's not on
okay.
that. So I downloaded it online. There is a source online. I forget what it's called, to be honest, that has collected and stored, I think, all the NES, all the Super Nintendo manuals. And I'm not going to lie, I miss manuals in these new games. Sure. But they do a much better job of telling stories.
I was a manual reader.
Yeah.
I still am, but they don't.
There's a 16-page comic before the manual even goes into anything.
That's pretty funny.
And it is actually funny, first and foremost. It's actually got some humor that Bubsy tries to have in the game, and I think they did a better job in the comic.
Okay.
And it explains that the Woolies are masters of the universe and obsessed with wool and yarn.
Wow.
And so they look through their gigantic telescope and magically find Bubsy curled up in a ton of yarn balls.
Okay.
And so they just decide to come to planet Earth and attack Bubsy and steal all those yarn balls. Now, it's not like Donkey Kong Country where you have to go and collect all your bananas back.
Right.
You just collect a bunch of random yarn balls placed throughout the levels.
You don't even have to actually collect.
You don't have to collect, which was the most annoying part. You don't get one-ups. You don't get bonus points. You don't get anything.
It's purely all I could think of was watching your score in the top left corner, but then I don't remember at the end of the game there ever being a scoreboard.
There's not.
So
there's not.
I didn't. Yeah, I gave up on it. That's when I was like, all right, I'm just finishing these levels as fast as possible. There's no point to the yarn balls.
Nothing at all. And you want to know what sucks is I kept telling myself that through so many stages, and I'd just see a box, or I'd see a bunch of yarn balls just sitting there so casually, and I'd be like, oh, I'm just gonna go get them anyways, and then die. But there's no point other than the score,
which, by the way, is the first point of our next podcast, Cool Spot, because there's an immediate point to the spots that you collect.
Immediate point. And it's so important in a game like that, comparatively to this one. And at least, again, it's compared to Sonic, because I feel like that's what it was originally trying to do a little bit. The speed part of the game really gets me.
So I have to bring this up because that's the second time you said that. And again, I'm on the Bubsy Wiki. So, director John Skeel said in an interview that the intention was to create a game as fast as Sonic and as deep as Mario, hard to master but easy to play. That was his exact words and phrasing, I suppose.
So, that makes more sense now, because I was going to complain if it was about to be about Sonic. Okay, makes more sense. He brought in the Mario part, and I feel like if he wanted it to be like Sonic, he's got the speed, he's got the craziness, he's got the collection of the rings compared to the yarn balls. I was really hoping, and I know there's a Bubsy 2. I've never actually played it. I think I will at some point, though I might regret that. And I know that in Bubsy 2 they made a lot of adaptations, but one thing that I think they needed in this game, they needed either a health bar or they needed to give you the chance to take a hit and grab a yarn ball. Just like in Sonic League, you've got a ring, you're good.
Okay.
You've got no rings,
Yeah.
you're dead. Give me a shield, give me an armor, and we'll talk about those stupid shirts because they were stupid. And you use those things, but man, if you could get hit once, like you have 50 yarn balls, okay, only 5 come bouncing out, but you have a chance to collect one.
Yeah.
And that way you can at least take a hit or two.
And then the yarn balls with purpose.
And then the yarn balls have purpose other than just a score, which, again, you don't even get a high scoreboard at the end of the game or in the menu, which I didn't even know there was a friggin' menu until I was at, like, stage 12 or 13. I was like, why is there passwords? There was no password screen at the beginning. It just started.
Was there no way to put in a password?
So you have to, like, I think you have to hit select.
Because we've been playing on the classic,
Right.
so I just have the save states.
Yeah.
So I don't even.
Oh, I wasn't
check.
doing anything
I don't know
either,
if there
but
is a
I was
menu.
like, oh, like, there's
I
got to
know
be
it's-
something.
Yeah.
So I think in the menu, I think it's select. It's something weird. Not
Okay.
like you would ever actually do it. But there's an option to play 2-player, which didn't know that was an option.
I had no idea. That's-
Like, again, growing up with my
Wow.
brother playing this, like, probably, maybe we knew. I don't remember that.
Yeah.
And then it gives you button options because there's a real big difference between B being jump and Y being glide,
Mm-hmm.
or B being glide and Y being jump. But, you know, those types of things just, like, randomly pop up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh.
One thing that I always, also in talking about maybe additions to the game, it was weird to me how much you would kind of slip and slide physics-wise.
Yep.
When it's a cat and it's got claws, and I know my cats, like, I can't get them off my lap when I want to because they're just stuck
They're
into
just
my
digging
legs. So, like, why is he slipping it? There should be, like, a button where you can just, like, grab on.
There
like,
were
stop.
so many different things I feel like they could have chosen to do with the additional buttons. Like, you've got L and R that lets you look forward. And I'm not going to lie, as a kid, I don't think I once touched them.
Probably not, no.
But those became huge when it came to, like, later areas.
Yes.
And that, again, like, that might be because Super Mario World actually has that. You never really use it, but if you hold L and R,
I had
it'll
no idea
shift
that
the
was
screen.
a thing.
Right? That's exactly because you don't need it in Mario.
Yeah,
the one hit
you get enough
deaths.
information.
You get like you get hit once or twice in Mario and you die,
That's true
right?
also, yes.
But man, there was just so many little things like that. It was all over the place sometimes, all over the place. I don't know about you with that camera though. Like, if you ever got up to full speed, you didn't have the ability to react. Your reaction time
No.
has to be insane. If you were even dodging a non-moving enemy,
You have to have the level memorized at that point.
it's
the
just
only possible way.
insane.
And even
So-
it's sometimes even still too hard to because it's such a blur in the background to even know where you are.
So I tried to do it where if I was moving to the right consistently, I at least held the R button, and it did help me.
Yeah.
I still wasn't always going to full out run unless I knew. One of the things I thought was actually probably one of the best features in the game is when you get to the checkpoints, the little exclamation points,
Yeah.
those save spots, whatever bad guys you had killed are dead.
Okay.
So like any Wooly or any like the like weird characters that just walk around back and forth, or any of the wasps up in the forest, or any of those stages, if you killed a bunch and then died and you went back to the checkpoint, they were gone.
Yes.
I
yes.
didn't notice that until I was in the forest, because I kept dying at those wasps or those bees or whatever they were, and I'd get like one and then die at the next one because
Yeah.
they'd just be going in circles and crazy, and then like something would be shooting at me, or there'd be a damn Woolly drop. Why are they dropping eggs? Why are they dropping and throwing eggs?
I didn't understand a lot of.
Like, where did those come
Woolies.
from?
So let's talk about the Woolies some more because they really.
Let's make them a focus, because the
You
game
said-
should focus.
They were masters of the universe.
I mean, the phrasing in the comic isn't that, but
So
they are.
I did recognize that they did have mastered biological warfare,
Yep.
right? Because their like main way of killing you was literally to sneeze on you. They
Yeah.
sneeze on you to death. Like
Which-
it was very appropriate to start with this game first with everything that's been going on these past couple years, like sneezing to
COVID.
death. Yeah. So definitely
The wildly wicked Woolies. Like, they're like, there's a scientist Wooly, he's got a mustache. Like, They fly their yarn ball UFOs down to Earth to find Bubsy. Bubsy's taking a nap. They find some... The Woolies swiftly made a sucker out of Bubsy. They suck him up through like some vacuum, and they throw him off to one direction, and they collect all the yarn balls, and they see Bubsy landing in the middle of nowhere and just pissed off. And yeah, I don't... It's just... It was...
It's an interesting premise.
Yeah, I don't know what they were thinking or how they came up with this.
They definitely obviously started with the cat first. They knew they wanted their main character to be Bubsy. I don't know. And then they just sort of were like, all right, something about wool.
Yeah, like cats like yarn balls. Like, let's run with that.
Yeah. Nothing else really likes yarn balls. We can't make it old ladies, so let's go with aliens.
Aliens that are obsessed with, well, and we'll just call them woolies because that's the most creative thing we can come up with.
Yeah, they did all this work on Bubsy and then just like, all right, throw the rest of it together. It's fine. Like, another thing about Bubsy that I noticed playing the game back was he's quite expressive. Obviously his little intros, he's always got like a quote or something to say. I always found it funny that most of what he said or looked like on that intro screen was like nervous or scared.
Yep.
And then the second the game starts, if you're not touching him to move, he gets so impatient. He's just like, come on. He's in the track stance. Like, let's go. It's like, you were terrified a second ago.
He's in the blocks ready to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love some of the one-liners and thought they were like, they had that funny moment. I feel like they were trying to reference, like, I feel like in the Wild West they have like a Clint Eastwood like reference or two. And I don't know if they all had references. Like, I didn't clearly get them. If
maybe the Canadian ones, like someone who knows more Canadian history than us can chime in here.
Like, that would be awesome. Let us know, because I have no idea what some of these things were. Yeah. And like, I feel like they tried to make those references, and I feel like even in the manual, there was like little things that they were like trying to reference, like how cool he was, or like, I know we've got Cool Spot coming up, but I feel like you put a pair of sunglasses on him, like that would have made him cool. I heard that originally the T-shirts that he was wearing, or that you could collect, like with the one-ups and everything, like that those were supposed to somehow show his emotion or expression in some way, but like it was nothing. There was never anything like on them, or like never changed. The death sequence changed every freaking time I died, but those were some of those are great.
I feel like, again, it's just like more effort was put into just Bubsy or like the one-liners than they just threw the woolies. You know, they're aliens with like wool. That's it.
They're going to sneeze at you. They're going to stand perfectly still and sneeze at you. And the bubblegum machine that's standing next to them is going to shoot you to death. Yeah. Where did, like, again, like, why eggs? Even the little pelican came out of nowhere in certain stages would drop eggs on you.
Was it a pelican?
I don't know what it was.
It looked like a chicken sometimes. Like, why is the chicken flying around? Like, it's not how chickens
at least
work.
the eggs make more sense with that.
Yes, I guess. I mean, why they're just dropping their own eggs instead of nesting with them.
Why they're agreeing to be a part of the Woolies, like, enemy team.
Maybe the Woolies have some sort of bird mind control ray, and that's why they're the most advanced.
Yeah, maybe.
Species. I mean, they do have the world via birds. But again, why did you start with the chickens?
Yeah, the smartest animals.
Think they're the chickens.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh man. Oh goodness. So let's talk about some of the other things. Like, let's talk about the T-shirts, because the T-shirts do a lot of different things supposedly, but I rarely saw them, or rarely put the effort into getting them when I saw them.
Right.
So there's 1-ups and there's 2-ups. I don't think there were 3-ups.
I feel like I only saw 1s and 2s, but there might have been one time I saw more. I did not do as much exploring either. I was just kind of like
trying to survive. Yeah, I feel it. So I definitely saw the 1-ups and I saw the 2-ups.
Yes.
I believe there's a black T-shirt. I think
Yes.
that's what color it was.
The shadow.
The shadow.
And I
Right?
think you basically just sort of run through or behind.
So I'm going to read what it says in the manual
Okay.
because it says black T-shirts. Shadow Bubsy. I look great in black. And when I wear one of these black T-shirts, the woolies can't even see me. So you're not invincible, but like bad guys just don't focus on you.
So they won't sneeze at you if you stand right next to them?
I mean, even if you
sneeze
sneak, like...
that big,
I didn't really find any purpose in this. The few times I had it, I still died, which is awful. Like, I thought I was invincible. I thought I was good to go, and I hadn't read the manual at that point. And even since, I'm not going to even try this to, see what happens. I think I found one.
I feel like I might have
Maybe
only
two.
found one also, maybe two. And I still probably, even though I was like, I kind of feel like I'm supposed to be... What I maybe was confusing it with was in Super Mario,
Yeah.
where you get behind the bushes in Super Mario World, where you can get there's a couple of levels where you could get behind the bushes and run in.
I think you're thinking Mario Bros. 3, right? Where you could go behind, you weren't on the foreground, you were in the background.
Yeah, something like that.
And then you would get the special, Super Mario 3.
And you none of the
or Mario Bros. 3.
I mean, I guess if you were out in the open, you could still get hit by enemies, but if you were behind the bushes, you could just keep running.
Yeah.
And I sort of thought that's what this was, but I think I still was I'm not sure, so I'm just going to pretend I can still
Yeah,
die.
you still jump on people and hit them, and
me.
I don't think it did a single thing for me. The other shirt that was out there was the flashing T-shirt, which is called Super Bubsy.
Okay.
And I'm going to let you comment on this one first. I'll read it. I'll read this thing. It says, "This one flashes, and as long as it does, I'm totally invincible to woolies and their henchmen. Of course, water, spike, and other natural disasters can have a deadly effect on me."
Ah, okay.
Did you find that one?
I found a couple. I found more of those than the Shadow Bubsy shirts. I don't think I died with any of them. I think one of them was in the level with all the logs and the rivers.
Yeah.
I didn't fall all the way down.
That was
to
Canada,
the
by the way,
lava.
The logs in the river? I'm assuming so. Because there's no rivers in any other part, right?
A little bit, not necessarily a waterfall thing,
Yeah.
whatever they were.
Okay.
Anyway.
There was waterfalls everywhere. Oh, you're talking about when you... Oh, okay. That's a different thing. Different thing.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that in a second, because those were kind of fun.
They were kind of fun. And in the bonus levels, they were lava.
Yeah.
Again, with the lava or something.
Why, you could survive that one.
But anyway, the invincibility shirt. Yeah, I guess.
So I found one. I found one in the Wild West, and I knew immediately that this was I'm invincible. I can't be hurt. I can't do anything. And so I think I killed one of those sand shark things, which killed me a million times. Freaking things. And so I killed a few of those and was running through, and then I get to the end and there's just spikes, the horn spikes, and
the long horn
touched it and just died, and I was like, this fucking game.
Yes.
It's brutal. When you're oh, I'm invincible, and you can still just die from nothing.
100%. And then the other thing about it was I never had any sense of it was a song that played or just a different background effect.
Yeah.
And I was I don't know when this is going to end.
Nope.
So
It maybe lasts 10, 15 seconds. It is
eventually
so short.
I slowed down and I was all right, well, I'm just going to keep playing normal because I don't know when I'm not going to be invincible anymore.
It had such a short span that it was almost all right, I'm going to take about 5 seconds and then I'm just going to not do anything different. So by the time you got out of wherever you were, because half the time I felt like I was enclosed in a space. I wasn't out in the open whenever I got mine.
Yeah. Because if you jumped up, you'd hit a cactus or something. If you stayed down low, there was a cheese wheel or something coming at
cheese
you.
Wheel. When did they become such good cheese makers? Those woolies.
Again, I don't know what that has to do with woolies and.
Yeah. I don't know. Did you find any continues? Because that's the last collectible thing, other than the yarn balls, which we'll talk about some of those things.
What did they look like?
It looked like a little bit of a red ribbon with an arrow, and it just went in circles.
Oh, that's what those were.
Yeah.
I did find a couple of them.
Yeah.
I had no idea what they were. I never recognized that they were continues, I guess.
Yeah.
Because, again, I was using the save states, so
Yeah.
I didn't really keep track as much.
I think I found... I saw a few, but, like, could only physically get to one without
Could be true.
committing suicide or, like, knowing that I was definitely not going to come out of it with a decent amount of lives.
Yes.
I know I found one in the carnival, but I couldn't find the door to get into that little space because it was, like, closed in.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I found one early, probably in one of the bonus stages, which I think we should talk about now because the bonus stages with what you were talking about, the logs and the water where you do, like, the water slide.
Yes.
Those,
water slide.
that's what I call it. I don't know what else to call it. But, like, the bonus stages were either fun and kind of chaotic or lasted about 3 seconds because I died.
Because, again, the camera, and you can't tell, like,
You
I don't know, this one
know.
looks like maybe it's going to go off the edge and, like, drop to your death, but you drop down and there's, like, there's, like, a 50-pack over here.
I feel like half the time I'd get in and be like, I'm going to get to, like, I'm just trying to always get as high up as I could, but, like, it didn't even matter because sometimes you would just get dropped off into the edge, or there was one later in the game that I found where you get dropped onto a platform and the platform moves so fast. Like, you land on the platform, but it moves so fast that I thought it was just going to drop me.
Yeah.
And so immediately I, like, pushed to the side. And by the time I, like, and I didn't even, like, hammer it. I, like, adjusted slightly and then tried. But I was already falling off of it and, like, dead. And it was done.
Again, should have cat claws.
It should have cat claws. Could understand cat claws not doing anything in the water slide or the lava slide of the bonus stages.
Yes.
But there should be some effect.
Well, I don't think I was even coordinated enough to land on one of those platforms, so you got me beat there.
I guess so. I think I'm the only one. I think it was like the first stage, maybe the second stage. It was in the village. That I actually got a decent amount of anything in one of the bonus things. On the rare occasion, I survived long enough to, like, magically get something other than bullshit yarn balls, but like rarely did I get much.
Yeah.
Rarely.
There wasn't much to get, again, at this point, aside from 1-ups, 2-ups. Maybe there were continues in there, I don't know.
Yeah.
I never saw
and I'm not going to lie, I didn't try and do a lot of save states. So I tried save stating only if I beat the stage. And then...
Tried that for a while.
I got pretty far with that. I think I got to the Wild West, where I then used to continue, which actually was really nice because it gives you 9 lives, and it just starts you at the beginning. I think it starts you at the beginning of that stage.
Of the stage, right.
So it's not like you're backtracking a lot, except for in that stage because you went into the canyon.
Right.
Of course. Which made it its own, like, second stage. It was like playing 6 stages in the Wild West.
Yeah, I mean, it was... I think the difference was because the train was so linear, there wasn't much to explore. That was the only part of the game where I was like, okay, I feel confident that I'm actually getting everything along the path. So yeah, that had something to do with it, I feel like.
Yeah. But I don't even think I found a bonus stage in those. Half the time I wouldn't even go into, like, the underground of the canyon because it was so dangerous and deadly. I feel like every time I went in there, I was just, like, dead.
Yeah, it was pretty much the carnival where you had to do the doors, and then the last level where you had to do the doors.
Yeah.
And other than that, there was one door I did, it must have been in Canada. It must have been in Canada, right after the carnival stage.
Yeah.
It was a door, and I think I figured out eventually that it was basically like 10 feet away from the end of the level.
Yep.
But when you went in it, it brought you back.
Yep.
And then when I went in that door, it brought me
back. Brought you further
again.
back? Yeah,
and
dude, I found that
like
too.
4 doors in a row, and I was like, one of these times I've got to go back forward. And never did, and I was just like, wow.
So, dude,
I'm never going in a door again.
That happened to me, and I remember, like, getting back. It pretty much it brings you, like, back to the beginning of the stage. And even still, like, there were certain doors where, like, you would go in it would backtrack you, but then you would go in it again, and it would be, like, a bonus stage or a bonus thing, or, like, at least bring you somewhere else. But those brought you all the way back, and I was like, this is stupid. I'm not even going to bother to try. So I just died. I jumped into the water and died. So that I could bring back to the checkpoint. Yeah. But that was just, like, one of those crappy mechanics that I was like, what the hell are you doing? Like, why would you do that to us?
Especially, just like, obviously once or twice I get it, but I swear 5 times in a row and you were back in the beginning of the level, and I was like, never again will I go through a door.
I don't blame you. At that point, I don't blame you. It sucks that you have to do it just to beat the last stage of the alien ship and everything, but Yeah. Yarn balls gave you bullshit points. Nobody really cared. Yarn crates gave you points, but they hold, I think it was 25 yarn balls.
And then I had asked you at some point about the
lava ball. And I was like, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
I still don't really know what they are. They're not yarn. What are they?
So,
liquid.
Ready? This is what it says. Wool Gasmatron.
Liquid wool.
Liquid wool keeps wool under extreme pressure in a high fiber plasma state.
Wow.
Random point value between 1,000 and lucky number 7777.
Wow.
That's what it was. And, I mean, early in the stage, like early in the game, especially in the village where you kind of find a little bit of everything, I was trying to figure out what it did and could still never figure out how many yarn balls I got or whatever. Yeah. I didn't even realize that the color of the yarn balls was a different point value.
Is it?
Yeah.
I had no idea.
I didn't either. So, again, we eventually both pretty much quit on points. I think once I had to use a continue, I was like, fuck yarn balls, fuck points.
I remember those ones that changed colors, and I was like, what's the point of them changing colors?
Yep.
They're all just yarn balls that mean nothing.
No. So, green was supposedly 10, yellow was 20, red's 30, blue is 40, and the random one, which I thought would have been more, to be perfectly honest. The random one is whatever you touch it as.
Yeah,
so,
okay.
if it's red when you touch it, it's worth that many.
I need to know also, we've asked one question for the comments about Canada's history. I have a question for anyone. Has anyone ever played this game for the purpose of scoring the maximum points that you
There
can get?
has to be some crazy
there
person.
There have to be some people.
There's gotta, and that's what I love about video games nowadays. It's like, I sit and I think I'm decent at some games, and I'm pretty good at most games. I suck at RPGs. I won't lie there. I'm one of those people where I don't want to sit and grind. So if I have to grind, I pretty much just lose and fail and never progress. But platformers, I'm pretty good, and this is one where I don't think I could ever get that good at it. Where I could come up with some crazy high score.
I don't have the patience to get I'm just not interested in getting that good at it. Again, it's a cool concept, and it is very, like I said, it feels open world for the generation that it is.
Well, I feel I think it came out, 93? It came out early 90s. And I feel like at that point, games were going away from high scores. They still definitely had some games with high scores. And there's games that will forever always have Tetris, you have to have a high score.
That arcade.
You have to have that. Pac-Man, you have to have high scores. But, I feel like Mario, and even in the new ones for the Switch and the Wii U and the Wii, I look at them why are there still points? What is the point of points in these games?
Yeah, it's more like the achievements, the quests.
And do they even have achievements at this? In these newer games, I don't think they do. Maybe they do.
I don't know.
I feel like Nintendo's not big on achievements, to be honest. Anyways,
trophies or whatever.
Yeah. So I feel like that was always one where I didn't really know. I didn't really think about it.
Especially just the fact, if you're going to have a score, again,
have a high score.
Yeah. So I can put my score and, I don't know, why don't we be more?
You want to know what, though?
Eat it? I don't know.
And I love, Contra's probably one of my favorite video games for the NES. And that has a score, but I don't think it, other than keeping the highest score, it doesn't track the top 5 or anything. And I don't think this tracked anything, which is, again, the issue. But I think with some games, even Contra, at least the points got you extra lives.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I feel if they had included that in this game, where every 5,000, 10,000, whatever amount of points, I don't even really care.
Something, though.
Something to get you an extra life. Because I feel I racked up a lot early because I had made it through without using a continue. And then the instant you use a continue, your score goes back to 0. Not that, again, that it mattered, but...
Yes.
Come on.
That's what really got me, thinking about what is the point of the score.
Yeah. So some of the other things that I... again, the death animations are great. I love the fall death where you turn into, the accordion.
Yep, that's a good one.
I love the car one's probably my favorite. And some of them are kind of boring. You got shot by, the thing, and you just flip up in the air and die.
Yeah, or they you just crack them a million pieces. That one's pretty frequent.
Yeah.
The popping one I liked because jump on a cactus.
Yep, and just spin off into the air like a balloon. Yeah.
I mean, I liked it insofar as like the first couple times I saw it, and then it was one of the most. They're all so annoying.
But I'm not gonna lie, like I was surprised by how many death animations there are, and I'm sure like I feel like there's got to be some that like I didn't even like have like the car ones like individually like its own thing because you only have those in the village, and I don't even feel like I saw very many, and it was only the red ones. Beware those red cars.
To avoid certain parts of levels, like I don't know. Again, like you said, probably haven't seen all the enemies. I'm sure some of them got some unique animations.
There's definitely got to be. I also have to say some of the animations when you're like in the spaceship and you're like flying in the air on the carnival, or when you're on the actual rocket like thing flying, and you can lift your hands up and like you look like you're celebrating, or you like cover your face
in the roller coaster.
Yeah. I like it's just like those extra little details that like make me remember this game in good ways, because I feel like we've shit on this game. We've totally just said like so many bad things about what they should have done or could have done, and there are some things that I'm like
years and years of advanced gaming at this point.
Like we chose this game. We chose to start our podcast on this game, and we're just destroying it. But there's so many things that I'm like, man, like I remembered this game, and I remember wanting to play it as a kid, and I remember watching my brother play it, and like you renting it numerous times. Like that's what you did. Like especially if you didn't own it. Like
no, I wanted to play this game, and I did like playing this game. It was a fun game. It's just I don't know. It's weird too.
Actually, I'm trying to remember. Like, do you remember there's like crocodiles or alligators in Canada when you're on the little raft? And they eat the raft, but I'm trying to remember if they actually eat you, because like I know I died at once or twice, but I'm trying to remember if they killed you in a funny way. Now that I'm looking at some of the other things in the manual,
I somehow avoided that situation.
I tried to as much as I could.
On the you could just jump on the crocodile and kill them, and I did that well enough that they didn't. Maybe once or twice I got one part of my raft eaten, but that was about it.
One of the things I think. I have to say, I think the carnival was probably my favorite area, partly because of like the rocket ship and the roller coaster, and there's a lot of just fun things. Like there's the carousel where you have to jump on all like the weird enemies. There's the hot dog enemy, which why a hot dog's your enemy, I don't know, because I figured you could eat a hot dog at worst. But do you remember the thing that like it's the strongman thing where you like you would take a hammer to it and it launches up in the air, but in this you can jump on it?
Yeah.
What are those things next to it?
Are they clowns?
I'm gonna show you the picture. And I just want to know what. Now you know. You know, right?
Yeah, I remember.
What the fuck is that?
I don't know. Are they supposed to be like Jolly Green Giant?
I guess giant... so, but like
they look like pickles, kind of.
They look like pickles.
Let me see again.
They just look like weird penis things again. Like I just don't. There's moments in this game where I'm just like
shaped, I guess.
Just weird, awkward, sexual, like
awkward shapes. Yeah.
Why did they choose that?
I have no idea.
Okay. I could understand like the Jolly Green Giant, and like it does look like it's flexing, but like I remember getting to that and just like stopping and pausing the game.
A weird position to be in and everything.
Oh god, it was ridiculous. Yeah, I'm looking at like the manual has a lot. I was shocked by how the manual is impressive, to be honest. I was shocked. Like I remember the pianos. I don't remember if they kill you funny. That's in the village. They come down the hills. I always avoided the hills because I was always on top of the houses.
If they directly on top of you, they might. I don't remember.
But there's like pianos that come like they make the glink 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 coming down the hill. The sand sharks killed me so much. But there's a lot of things in this manual. I was honestly truly impressed. Like I loved the manual. The commentary by Bubsy is pretty funny in it because it's almost as if he's explaining it to you. And it's just straight to the end, like even in like the warranty and the licensure of all that, where like it almost feels like Bubsy is a character who can talk to you and like interact with you and all these things.
Yeah, I definitely think we're gonna have to play the other Bubsy games and continue this storyline and see where it goes.
So I'll agree that I'll play one more Bubsy game because I've never played it, but I have heard horror stories about Bubsy 3D.
Okay.
And so I know that Bubsy 3D is like the death sentence to the game. And I know that it was early in the 3D realm of things, but I know that it was just awful. So I will definitely at some point look into Bubsy 2. I will definitely be up for at least trying it. And going from there. Because I did hear that they kind of adapted. They listened to the audience and kind of adapted some of those things. So I think there's not one-hit deaths. I think they slowed things down or worked on the camera or something. But like it had kind of a better, simpler gameplay. Doesn't mean it was like actually good gameplay or like that it was like a fun game itself. I don't know. I don't know if they kept all the one-liners or the fun death sequences or what, but
yeah, I do have to say, again, as much as we've kind of bashed the game here, the fact that it was one-hit kill and just so open world, like it was very, it was challenging. It was possible, but challenging, and you know those are honestly the kinds of games that I do complain about a lot. Like games are so like forgiving these days.
Yes.
And this was just unforgiving. Like it was a tough game and it was worth playing for that reason.
Yeah.
So I do have to say that as part of this as well.
And I know you're a big Dark Souls fan, and I know you played Elden Ring. I don't know if you're a huge fan of it or if you're a hater of it.
I did like Elden Ring.
Yeah.
I still feel like my favorite is the original Dark Souls.
Yeah. So you like those games?
I like to kind of like do as much as possibly can, like 100% things. And so Elden Ring was a little too open for me, for my taste.
Yeah.
But they did it well.
Yeah.
I think.
No, I know you like those games. I definitely like those challenges. I feel like I kind of learned to like those challenges with games like Bubsy or like even some of the early Mega Mans. Those definitely had some real challenge or some struggles. Again, Contra being one of my favorite games, like that's got some real struggles if you're not knowing how to deal with the pace of the game and everything. But Bubsy definitely has some moments where it feels like the game is just trying to kill you as much as possible.
Yes.
And in every direction, something is flying. It's crazy.
Yeah, I just feel like a little too much, like I had to take a leap of faith and just hope that I was going to land somewhere safe.
Yeah.
I just can't see, but, that's my biggest piece that I just couldn't quite get past for this game, but everything else.
So what were your thoughts on the bosses? I think that's probably like our last topic, kind of, right? Like, I feel like we're both, like, we've talked about just about everything. We haven't really talked about the bosses much, and, I mean, I feel like I got to the first boss and said, holy shit, there's bosses? But by the last boss of the game, I was like, a very different mindset.
Yeah. And then again, with the bosses, to me at least, it was not quite as clear. Like, they didn't quite look like woolies.
Yeah, it was too small of like a little UFO thing.
Like, let me see his whole face and be like, oh, that's the exact same thing as those woolies look like.
Yeah.
So it took me a while to make that connection. What also took me a while, which I realize now, because I did it for the last two bosses, which are the last literally two levels of the game.
They're friggin' possible, those two. Oh my god.
For some reason, I'm sure, I remember I probably did this more as a kid, but for some reason as an adult when I replayed this game, I was not using the glide during the bosses.
Yeah.
Which just basically, like, if you hit it right, you can just, like, stay up in the air and kill all the bosses in, like, 3 seconds.
Yeah.
And it took me way too long to figure that out. So, it was annoying. But once I figured that out,
oh
I was
my
like,
god.
Oh, like,
that's a game changer.
You can either beat the boss
game
in 3
changer.
seconds, or maybe it can go a little bit longer, but those last two bosses, like, you either beat them or you die.
Yeah.
Like, right away
you die
beat
so
them.
fast, so easily. Actually, I got to the second to last boss, not the last stage, but you're in the woods, you're in the forest, and
He just keeps dropping bullies everywhere, right?
Well, I beat the boss and died at a woolly. The woolly, jumped into me, and I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, I was like, yes. So it's like, you get, like, that animation explosion. And I think it was also because there were so many things on screen that it almost, like, stalled in, like, showing me what it was or, like, where it was. And so I was like landing on a couple on the ground, and then I landed on the physical ground, and like he just like was there, and I'm like, what? But man, even like the last boss, which I'm not gonna lie, I had to save state like right before the boss. That was probably the one time where I saved state in the game right by a specific point that I knew I was at numerous times and struggling. And I mean, he's throwing bananas. I think he throws fish.
Cheese wheels, bananas.
He's got these weird like lava balls.
We're about to get to
we got it on screen behind me.
Screen
right?
here.
And he's got like, is that a shield? Does he have like a shield that just like you can't jump on him when that happens?
Oh, just cut off. But yeah, I think that's what that was.
I think that's what it was.
I didn't realize it at the time. But yeah, he's dropping eggs.
Yep.
Throwing cheese wheels.
Yep.
Throwing bananas.
Yep. And he's got the weird, like, red, orange ball things, which are the only thing that I was, like, truly struggling with, because I got pretty good at staying above and, like, using the glide and staying up. But he throws those up, so you had to avoid those as well.
Pretty small, too, and harder to see.
Oh, well, it's, like, 2 or 3 at a time as well. Yeah. So it was, like, really difficult because there's a ton of things going on at the bottom because, like, the bananas, like, explode open and the fish is, like, flopping around and, like, there's just a ton of things going on, and he's got the weird shield thing, and he does the weird, like, infinity, like, figure 8, like, up and down, like, back and forth. But he's just so, like, after, like, the 3rd or 4th hit, I'm like, it's got to be one more, it's got to be one more. And it's, like, 8 or 9 or 10. I don't even know how many. I got lucky because I hit him, like, 3 times in a row real fast without him actually getting anywhere. And I'm like, I don't even know what happened.
Pure luck.
Yeah, pure luck. I don't know how I beat that boss. I'm not gonna lie.
I remember hitting him the same thing like 5 or 6 times and just being like, this is it.
Yeah.
Dead.
And so then,
I don't know.
You finally get lucky enough. You beat him. You get a weird little comment from Bubsy of, I did it, and actually you helped a little bit. He gives you a little bit of credit. The game ends. You get the little cutscene of him, like, behind the scenes, quote unquote, like, because it looks like it's a movie theater.
Right.
Like, you're actually not a movie theater, like a movie, like a set.
Yeah.
And so it's like, was this just supposed to be a movie? Yeah.
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense to me. Especially now with the manual. Like, it didn't make sense to me then, and it doesn't make sense to me now.
Yeah, they don't set it up like that way at all.
No. So I was just like, what the hell? And he gets his little limo, and the woolly drives him away. And you're like, dude, didn't you just beat the freaking game? You just beat all the woolies? Like,
I guess.
Now you're getting abducted.
Another reason we're going to play with Bubsy 2 is hopefully it's another movie.
Maybe there's a better story.
Maybe that's why all the one-liners and I don't know.
Right? You get some crappy credits that Did you actually look at the credits?
No.
Okay. All right. You're a hater like that? I'm not gonna lie. I can't tell you how many times I've actually watched the credits. There's like 4 slides, and you physically have to move through them. So like I went like through like 2 slides and then accidentally pushed something else and like went backwards, and I'm like, why are you letting me do this? And you can watch the credits from the get-go if you actually know how to get to the menu for like 1 player, 2 player, and all that stuff.
4 slides. Wow.
Yeah. Really Which shows you how many people actually worked on it, I guess.
Yeah. And again, the first 3 slides were just working on Bubsy, and then the last slide was Willie's thrown out there.
Whoever came up with his lines or like his like statements or like his little comments in the manual and the comic, that person's got some creativity. Everybody else, they need to work on that. Yeah. All right, so I'm good. You got anything else you want to say about Bubsy?
No, I think that wraps it up. We covered quite a bit. Gameplay, storylines. Yeah.
So I'm gonna maybe you have a better idea. I figured we would kind of give it a little bit of rating or like decide on if you would recommend this at all. But I was thinking there's 16 stage. We could do that. I don't know how many yarn balls are in the game. I thought that would be an absolutely ridiculous thing to kind of compare it to. But do you have any thoughts on something to like rank it wise? 1 out of 10 is boring.
Yeah, that's true. I do like yarn balls. I feel like early on in the game, I probably get like 300 yarn balls.
Yeah.
And then later on in the game...
Oh, we didn't even talk about the end of the stages.
Oh, yeah, the blasting through the little spinning yarn ball.
I sucked at that.
Yeah. I
feel like I'd get like 5 or 6 and then it would be
a lot of times I would just end up crossing the finish line without even being like, oh, I should have like went back and did a running start, and then you could like jump my strategy was to just jump over it, like really close, as close as I can. Just keep jumping back and forth over it. But yeah, I feel like on average, between 100 and 300 yarn balls was where I kind of ended a stage. Yeah. So if we say it's out of 300 yarn balls.
Okay, we'll do it out of 300 yarn balls. That sounds good to me.
my other thing is, this being our first game, the rating system is just, who knows. So to calibrate, it's definitely not way up there.
No, it's not in like the 260, 270 range?
No, I think maybe, 220 maybe-ish.
Wow, 220?
It's passing. Like, again, I feel like if you're a person who likes a challenge,
yep.
This definitely offers that.
Yeah.
So it definitely has that aspect to it. But again, we just have so many more games that we're going to talk about. I don't want to set the bar too high.
Yeah.
Or put this one up so high and then
we're going to have so many other things to compare out of 300. Yeah, because 300 is going to be a normal number.
Definitely.
I don't. So you said 210?
220.
220. Sorry, 220. I don't think I would go as high, to be honest. I think I'm more in like a one. Nah, I'm a little over 200. I'm going to be like 205.
Okay.
Right? Like, I definitely think it's a passing game. It's totally worth picking up and playing it once or twice, especially if you've never tried it. If you like challenge, like, it's totally worth playing. It's totally worth going and trying to deal with it and getting good and all that stuff. But I don't know if I would, if it wasn't for some nostalgia, I don't think I'd like it the same. I don't think I'd laugh at some of these things the same way, like the weird like sneezing at you that the Willies do, or like the weird like animations that some of them have.
Yeah, definitely. It did offer some things that I
just feel like the camera alone probably killed me in the fact that I felt like I spent 90% of my time wondering what's coming at me or where am I supposed to get to, where's my next jump to. So that really, like, that probably took away 80 points. After that, there's some fun. I like the deaths. I know they get boring after a while, but there was a lot of good stuff to it.
Yeah, definitely worth a playthrough.
Oh yeah,
pick up.
So we have mentioned we've got Cool Spot coming up soon. After Cool Spot, in no particular order, some of the other things we've got coming up. We've got Aladdin coming up at some point. I think we're going to try and get Taylor to join us for that because he says it's impossible. We've got Mega Man Soccer coming up. And I think
any Mega Man game.
Oh yeah, we'll definitely do some Mega Man games. I've actually just played Mega Man 5 for the first time. I think we'll do that. If you've never played it, that'll be.
Right. Let's do it.
That's a good one. But we've definitely got a couple others. We've got a list. If you've got comments on what game you think we should play next, or if you think we should just completely avoid Bubsy 2 and save ourselves some time, let us know. Do us a favor. I'm not really sure what this will eventually do in the long run, but, like, subscribe, download, leave a comment. Tell us what you like and don't like about the show, or what you like and don't like about Bubsy. But let us know, because we want to know.
Some feedback is always helpful.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Until then, adios, people.